I am adventurous. I love challenges. I love new experiences. And when I started getting more gigs, I was like, I really like this. I love the community. I felt so free, but I was learning of something new for myself that I can also teach other people. And it
Hmm.
gave me a sense of purpose again. I think sometimes we get stuck when we do our same day in, day out, routine. You get up, you do thing, and it was like Groundhog Day all the time. It's like, gosh, I did do this yesterday, so it kind of broke up that, and it gave me some excitement to look forward to.
And action!
Welcome to another CineMAINEia Maine attraction, where I talk to the folks in Maine's film and TV industry. This week, I'm joined by actress on stage and screen and children's book author Kayla James. Hi, Kayla.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. So we are right at the edge of the spooky season, and the first thing I want to find out is how do you feel about scary movies?
Uh, Mixed feelings. I remember watching some when I was younger and was terrified of them.
Yeah,
But then when I got older and understood the behind the scene and how they actually were made,
yeah.
then I wasn't as scared of them as I am. So I think it's funny how that when you're younger you don't understand the movie magic.
Right.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
you get older and you get to see, but then being able to be on film, it's
Yeah.
so cool, because you
Yeah.
see that and you're just like, that's that's how they do.
Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah, I talking about that movie magic and TV. When I was younger, I would go to daycare and we would watch Barney, the purple
Yes,
dinosaur.
yes.
And in that show, there were kids, and I couldn't understand how the kids did the show before school. Like I thought they're doing that right now or whatever, and that's funny.
Right.
I was like, yeah,
It's so true. It's so true, right? You're just like thinking, you see movies and you're like, how is it daytime? I'm like, when it's daytime here in Maine and like 6 a.m. is like dark. Like, I'm
yeah,
fun,
yeah,
always trips me up.
yeah, very yeah. What about Halloween in general? Are you a Halloween person?
Oh, I am a Halloween person. I will say that until the day I die. I
Yeah,
I love Halloween. I was actually just fixing our decorations that got blown over from the storm we just had.
yeah,
Um, all the rain and it was funny. We actually did this little pirate scene. I had this boat that somebody had thrifted me, and so
yeah,
we just put like skeletons and there's like this little pirate thing. Well, water got into the boat. I'm like, I'm gonna keep that. Actually, that works. So
yeah. Nice. Uh, what's your favorite costume
Oh
from?
man. Oh, that's a really tough one. Do you mean like from childhood or do you mean like nowadays?
Let's go. Well, let's go nowadays since.
Okay. Oh gosh, you would ask. I know. I don't know if I would be able to pick, but a couple of them I've done was Corpse Bride. I did that one year. That was super,
Nice.
super fun. Um, and this year I'm going to be Coraline. So I thought that
Ah,
was a really cool one. Trying to think years past what I've been doing. I'm like, it's kind of, whatever kind of pops up. I know because of the pandemic, that was something too, like it was kind of
yeah.
like, oh, what do we have that we could just, piece together? I was an astronaut one year and but I think the Corpse Bride is going to be the one that it
Yeah.
was like the one. I did the full makeup. I
Nice.
3 hours doing the blue.
Yeah. Was your did you have a partner at the time? Were they the Johnny Depp character?
Yes, he
Or
was. Yes, Victor. Yes, that was my fiance at the time, but now he's my husband. We just got married in April. We just celebrated our 6 months anniversary of being married today. So
Nice.
yeah, yeah.
Very cool. Um so I did want to actually you said Coraline. Are you doing anything particular for the eyes for Coraline?
I know. Well, so it's funny. I was actually looking at that, and some people I saw they did like the glasses frames, and then they put like
Mm,
huge buttons and like glued them on, so you took like kind of
yeah.
popped out like the lenses. I don't know if I'm gonna do that. I'm looking at it because I'm like, can I see, and would I be able to hand out candy if I have buttons on my eyes?
Right.
So I was
Yeah.
kind of debating that. But I do have the blue wig from when I was Corpse Bride. It's a little
Okay.
bit longer, but I was like, you know what? I'm like, this is my version, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
do it my way. That's
Nice.
what Halloween's all about, right?
Right. Yes. Um. So I guess where did you grow up?
I grew up in West Paris, and so that's about 45 minutes away from where I am now, and I'm in southern Maine. So
Okay.
yeah.
Very cool. Uh, do you come from a artistic family, or are you more kind of the one in the family that does that?
Yep, that is me. I am more of the one that came from that. Yep. It was just something I seeked a lot of through high school and elementary
Mm,
school. I was a minority growing up, so it was hard being in, schools where you are a minority, and you
yeah.
don't have a lot of I wouldn't say a lot of friends, but you just have a lot of challenges. And
Yeah.
so I would do drawing, and I did instruments. I play the violin and the saxophone, and I did drama and chorus, and any after school program I could get myself into, I was part of. But it was mostly the artistic ones.
Yeah. um, do you feel like there was movies or film or TV movies in your childhood that really kind of made you realize that that's something you like to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think always when I was younger, I loved movies. I mean, that was kind of the other part too. If I didn't have people socially that I was interacting with at a time, I'd go home and I'd watch a movie, and I fell
Yeah.
in love with it. I mean, a few titles I can think of is, of course, The Goonies. I mean, I think that was like really classic, but of course all the Disney movies too.
Yeah.
And just to name a few of them, but like it just, I think that's the thing. It's seeing that and saying, oh wow, like those people can do that. And then it wasn't until I got into theater, and then I was like, wow, maybe I can do a little bit more. So I've been doing theater for like 20 plus years. And
Wow.
yeah, and so I started when I was 5 years old, and I did here and there, and I've worked in a lot of community theaters, but not even just acting. I've done costuming and prop
Yeah.
making, assistant directing. So
Nice. In middle and high school plays and stuff like that,
absolutely,
being a
yeah.
minority, did you find either that they were either picking things to cast you in, or or like, oh, we're doing Aladdin, so of course Kayla's going to be, Princess
Right.
Jasmine.
So like typecast, yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, yes, that definitely happened quite a few times. There was a lot of roles that I was overlooked,
Yeah.
because I didn't look the part, or it wasn't what the director's vision was, and that was hard. I think growing up, being a
Yeah.
minority, and then seeing that happening, and then feeling like, gosh, I'm never gonna get selected for that. And
Yeah.
then I started, just doing other things, and then I'm being selected for these other things, costuming, or I'm being selected for, prop making or directing, and then some other parts, too, that are kind of more flexible in different racisms and identities and ethnicities, So it was really nice to be as an adult and then be a little bit more successful, but yeah, it's hard. I mean, that's hard for any child
Yeah.
growing up, that wants to be Cinderella, and you don't look like Cinderella, right? Or
Yeah.
that was hard. And nowadays it's a little bit different. They are making more movies and
Yeah.
versions of different ethnicities, which is really nice to see too.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Um, you're focusing obviously mostly on acting now, but is there another piece, like you've done all these jobs? If acting hadn't worked out or doesn't work, is there what interests you, second? What is the thing that you, or do you have something that maybe even though you are acting, you still want to do these other parts?
Mm. I'm a classroom teacher. I am actually
Okay.
teaching. Yep. So I do, that's kind of like my day job, right? I always kind of joke, like, that's my day job right now.
Yeah.
But I am very open to growing and, yeah, sorry,
That's all
growing
right.
and I'm pursuing, higher interests in my jobs and always expanding.
Yeah.
I'm not someone that wants to just sit around and do something for the next 10 years. I want to grow. I want to experience. I want to have as many experiences that I can share with my students, my children, my, people in my lives. I think it's really important that, we have one life to live and we should be, doing everything we possibly can in that life. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Nice.
was just joking with my coworker last night. I was telling him that I was going to a yoga class after we just had parent teacher conferences. And he said to me, "You're very ambitious." I'm like, "Oh, you have no idea."
Yeah, very cool. And so I forgot my question. Anyway, I did forget my question.
Now you are stumbling.
No, yeah, I'm gonna have to. Yes, this is I'll have to cut this part out. Um, and um, and so did you after high school? Did you pursue teaching as your degree?
Not right away. Actually, no. I
Okay.
was I was in a graphic design major,
Yeah.
and it was one of those things where I was just not the typical person that went right from high school, went to college, and then that was it. I had the alternate path. I always have been that person that kind of did their own thing. And I would still be, involved with some theater things here and there.
Yeah.
And then I kind of worked and focused on getting a job, and I had some odd end jobs from that. And then I was working with children, and I was like, maybe I'd be able to go to teaching. And so I did. And then, like I said, I've had some other paths as I've been going, and now it's like, the sky's the limit. I am
Yeah.
making and moving my way up as fast as I can, but writing that book has been the biggest accomplishment yet so far. So I definitely am going to be focusing a lot on that. And
Okay.
also the film and the acting too. So there's a lot of things that I'm going to be kind of putting in that, which is great.
Perfect. Yeah, I want to get to the book a little bit later.
Yeah.
Um, what from your teaching career do you bring to acting?
Oh yeah. It's like being on stage every single day, right? You're in front of a crowd of kids and you literally have to be on. So I always tell people, I'm just like, do you do theater? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, great. This is it. This is your stage. Those are your audience. So, you have to put on a face. You've got to be acting. You go up sick or you go in, you've got to make it work, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like it kind of correlates, or sometimes memorizing lines, just like memorizing curriculum. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to have to be standing up there with a book. I've got to memorize what the book says so I can just, tell them exactly what's going on.
Yeah. Very cool. And I remember what I was going to ask before. I always ask this from folks who did a lot of theater, and I consider this my Sean Hayes question because he's the one who asks this question on the Smartless podcast. Do you have any theater stories? Something that went wrong, something that was embarrassing?
Oh yeah, we've all have those stories, don't we? Even in theater, we've always had those. There was not personally me, but I was stage managing,
Mm.
and one of the people missed their whole cue, and I'm just like, they were like downstairs, they were not on, and I'm just like, where's the backup person? Where's the understudy? I'm like, put them on right now.
Yeah.
A huge pause, and I mean, everybody was like, did something happen?
Right. Yeah.
And they're just like, oh, I forgot I was on. We've all had those moments, of course,
Yeah.
but that one was probably the biggest and most awkward. It was actually for Adam's Family. It was an Adam's Family play that I was doing. There was a scene. Yeah, there was a scene that was like, oh, I'm like, I think that person completely missed what was happening. So it has happened. We've had stories, of course, where people forgot lines or they completely missed the whole scene.
Yeah.
But with film, it's kind of, it's different because you can't do that. It's like you just say cut. Okay, we'll fix
Right.
it. But
Yeah.
with theater, it's like, no, you got a live audience. You got to keep going.
Yeah. And you pursue theater to this day?
Yes. Oh yeah. I was
Yeah.
just in Beauty and the Beast for Monmouth Community Players
Okay.
back in 2023 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, oh gosh, that was like 2 years ago. I couldn't believe how time flies.
Is there anything that you're working towards right now for theater? Any shows or productions, anything coming up that you're
Yes,
that you're
yes. I'm not in them right now because I've been kind of working on the book. But
yeah.
I have been helping with other local theaters. So Community Little Theater, I help with them. I also help with my stepson's theater program, which is at his school. So I've been doing
Okay.
that. They're doing The Little Mermaid, so I'm helping with the costuming for that.
Nice.
And I've already helped costume for that show before, so this was a walk in the park. You know, I approached the directors. I'm like, listen, I'm like, I have what you need. What do you want? You know.
Yeah.
And then I had done Adam's Family. We were just talking about that. And another person I know that's directing that had asked me, hey, do you have your prop list? I'm like, yep, I've got that. So I'm always kind of doing some odd end things. Even when
Yeah.
I'm not doing theater myself, I'm in everybody else's shows helping with that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nice. How is costuming different than just than like clothes that you wear, making clothes that you wear? Like how do you have to think? You have to think differently, obviously, about how it looks and things like that
Yes.
when you're yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to know the time period. What is the time period setting? So if it was an 80s show, you've got to think what were people wearing? That's researching, that's like basically going through any archives that you possibly can, reading the script front to back,
Yeah.
reading all the director's notes, and then also having the director's vision. What did they want? What type of style do they want? So there's a
Yeah.
lot of planning into costuming. It's not just picking a piece of clothing and putting it on an actor. It's measurements. Do you need to make something for them? Do you need to order them something? Or
Yeah.
do you have something? Can you borrow it for someone? So there's a lot of planning and prepping to that, from start to finish. And then
Yeah.
when you're, in the midst of costuming, you're making sure everything fits right. You have your fitting, you do like a costume parade, to make sure it all looks right. And
Yeah.
then you're seeing it through. And then if something breaks or rips or needs alterations, you're also there making sure that's happening. And then at the
Mm.
end, you're washing everything and then putting it back.
Yeah. Nice. Do you have to, especially if it's a stage play or maybe even film and television, do you have to think about like the colors or lines or anything like differently than you might normally?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because like again, if it's like, if it was a certain type of show or time period, you really need to make sure that that's what the color that they need for that show.
Yeah.
If the scene is reading for like a red sash,
Hmm.
you can't use blue. You've got
Yeah.
unless there was something, not significant with it. But a lot of times if they're saying to have a article of clothing that's a certain
Yeah.
color, it's for a reason. That's going to be highlighted in the show. So
Yeah. Very cool.
yeah.
And on the prop side, do you have any do you have any prop making shortcuts?
Yeah, I think it comes with my love of crafting and repurposing everything and anything I could possibly can think of.
Yeah.
So if you're a very crafty person, prop making is going to be your friend, right?
Yeah.
So I mean that's going to be a great thing. But if you're not crafty and you would need some help, tutorials. Please read, watch,
Hmm.
articles, watch videos, ask people, forums on Facebook. There is tons of people that have made these props or have them. If
Yeah.
you're not crafty, you can always ask people, right? Because people are going to be willing to usually help. There was only one case where there was a show. I won't mention it, to not, put them in the mud, but there was one show I had reached out to many years back, and we were also doing the same show, and I just nicely had asked if they would share some of their ideas of how they made things, and they they were very rude about it and
Yeah.
had told us like, this is how I make money and I don't share my secrets. I'm like,
Mm.
not much of a secret if I can find it on Amazon,
Right.
but it was
Yeah.
it was kind of like, but that's what I like about theater is that community, the people that you
Yeah.
come together with, and you can always ask those questions. But a lot of my tips and tricks are going to be, what do you currently have in your household and
Mm.
how can you envision them to be something else?
Yeah.
That's how I would create is like, it's like, okay, do you have dowels? Okay, what can you make your dowels out of? Can they be
Yeah.
used in something, right? So it's
Sure.
pretty much like, what do you already have?
Nice. Um, do you have anything you can point to that where you decided I'm teaching, but I want to really pursue acting either part time or eventually full time? Not not putting your plans in your in your own words, but um, is there just something that changed that made you decide, you know what, I'm gonna go for it?
Yeah, I think it was, again, like I told you, I don't like to sit for a long time in one place, only because I am adventurous. I love challenges. I love new experiences. And when I started getting more gigs, I was like, I really like this. I love the community. I felt so free, but I was learning of something new for myself that I can also teach other people. And it
Hmm.
gave me a sense of purpose again. I think sometimes we get stuck when we do our same day in, day out, routine. You get up, you do thing, and it was like Groundhog Day all the time. It's like, gosh, I didn't do this yesterday, so it kind of broke up that, and it gave me some excitement to look forward to. I
Yeah.
was, teaching during the week, and then I had a recent film shoot that I had. It was for 2 days last weekend, and it was so great because I couldn't wait. I was like this kid, that I couldn't wait to go home from school and start the weekend. And I
Yeah.
drove up and, northern Maine, and it was great. And it was, and that's what makes it fun, right? Is that
Yeah.
as adults, we also want to be looking forward to these little Friday things, right?
Yeah. What do you use to search for or look for gigs?
So a lot of the Facebook forums and groups I'm a part of, which I, just only have been on for maybe over a year now, is when I started, because I didn't really look into it until somebody I actually went to high school with was in a Hulu show, and I was like, wait, they did a Hulu show here in Maine? So I asked about it, and he gave me some information, and then I was like, oh, cool. I reached out. And I
Yeah.
got a shot. So I got to go in and I got to be in one, a true crime, and it was amazing. And then it kind of been pegged for those roles now. So like I've been in a lot of horror and true crime, mystery, like
Yeah.
sinister places. And I'm laughing because I'm like, gosh, I never thought I would be the one that was in those roles, but those are the roles that I'm getting right now. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah. So you're in or you are in Wild Crime 11 Skulls, which is
Yes.
a Wild Crimes is a or Wild Crime
Crime.
is a series
Yes.
of true crime
Yep.
documentaries. Yeah.
Yes.
Um and that was they they shot at least the portions of that in Maine.
They did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was great. And and that's the thing. And they do that. They have been signing on their contract for at least 3 or 4 years now. And
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to get a part last summer, so that was great.
Nice. Up until that, did that feel like a different type of set, being something that was on uh
Oh,
you
for
know
sure.
for it's Hulu is Disney, I get, so
Right.
it's a weller more fun I would assume a weller funded set or
Correct. Yeah.
production.
It was definitely a lot different than some of the student films I have been part of, or other lower budgets that I've been part of. It
Yeah.
was definitely different, very different. I've had some great experiences. I've had some not so great experiences. So and I think that kind of goes with budget, right? You kind of
Yeah.
depend on if what budget is there. But so far, I mean, most of them ones I've been on through so far have been pretty good. And or some of them have just been like, you walk away and you're like, wow, I want to be a part of that. You want to go
Yeah.
more, right?
Yeah. What was the process? Uh, you know, what was the process like? Because I assume there was more due diligence on their part, either putting yourself on tape or anything like that that you might have experienced. So, what was surprising about that experience?
You mean like the audition process?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
yeah, or
So
even yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, sure. Yeah. Like, so some of the audition processes have been really unique or different. Everyone has a different style or what they're asking for. So some of the really good process, like the good experiences that I've had with those, they were really concise. They were very professional. They
Yeah,
knew exactly what they wanted. They had their, non-disclosures. They had their, like they releases. They had everything all put together and upfront, which was great.
Yeah.
So you knew what you were getting into, and they were informative. They were emailing constantly, letting you know what was going on. They did ask for videotapes, right? So you would audition, you would videotape something, they'd give
Yeah.
you a scene, you would say it, or they would ask you to just do something, because they sometimes I've had some companies that have just said, read for something and do something, or just one of them was to do like an exercise video, so I had to just exercise, so
Yep.
there's some like weird ones like that that was like really unique, and it was fun. But like I said,
Yeah.
it's all the experiences are different depending on who and what the directors
Yeah.
are looking for.
Very cool. And then are you able to kind of bring this experience back into like the Maine independent? Like I was part of a very small shoot thing, and they were doing uh releases,
Mm-hmm.
and another person was on that shoot who was a director, and he's like, oh, maybe I should start doing releases. So I assume you're able to kind of bring what you see at the higher level down to kind of pass along.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I have mentioned that. There was a few shoots, I think, that they were, like they were student films, so they're learning and
Right.
they're trying to you figure out the process. And they had said something, and I was like, oh, I'm like, I just want, because I was on a
Yeah.
shoot recently, and there was people that had never been in film before at all. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, wait, I'm like the more advanced person. I'm like, oh wow, I haven't really done it that long. I said, but that's cool, so it was kind of
Yeah.
nice to kind of instill, like, there was a 14-year-old, she was very nervous, and I was telling her, I was like, you're gonna be great, you're gonna be fine. It was great to be like, I was there. I remember my first shoot. It was scary, it was nerve-wracking, and then
Yeah.
be able to instill that on someone younger. It was really nice to be like that mentor.
Yeah.
But yeah, there has been other times too, like for paperwork wise, like where I did have to mention before, I was like, hey, is there going to be a non-disclosure for this to sign? So, and then they did send it, which was good. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. 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 And you just talked about mentors, which is a good thing to bring up. Do you have either celebrity or people mentors that you've looked to?
Yeah, well, I mean, Matt Delameter, I mean, him and I started off with community theater way back when, and when we were, I was a senior in high school.
Yeah.
So I was doing community theater there. Yeah. And so Matt and I, we've kind of kept in touch, all throughout the years, and watching each other grow from this. And it was great. So I highly look up to him, because, we kind of all started at the same place, and now we're kind of all moving. So it's great.
Nice. Um, Before we get into the book, I just wanted to mention one thing that was new for you was voiceover work.
Yes.
And so, how did that come about?
That was really cool. It was a student film, and I was, like I said, I'm like, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it, so I did it,
Yeah.
and they're like, we love your voice. I'm like, great, this is great. I'm like, I'm so glad my teacher voice can come in and handy at some point,
Right,
right?
that's true.
And so they had asked me to come. I went and, shot for like part of a day. It was such a cool experience.
Yeah.
But I was hoping to get more, because I was just like, I really like that. That was really neat.
Yeah.
Audition, I've been auditioning, and sometimes, we just don't get selected, for whatever reason. But
Yeah.
there was a voiceover that I had done, and then I'm like, man, I really wish I had gotten it again. But yeah, it is really cool. I do like the experience. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to get more. That would be great.
Nice. Did you find it difficult at all?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's harder. It is a lot harder than you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
And I did have to take a few takes, because, when you're reading something and you're trying to get a right tone, and, you take the direction, of course, you might be like, hey, I'm looking a little bit more for this. You're like, okay. And then you try it again, and you're just like, that's not it. And you're like, okay. Like, it's hard. It's hard
Yeah.
because you don't have another person you're interacting. You have a screen, and you're like talking into a microphone. So it's
Yeah.
really difficult to not have like a reaction from another person to give
Right.
emotion, right? So
Yeah. And
it
you're
was challenging, but super fun.
Nice. Yeah, and you're performing one side of a conversation, so it's it's hard
I
to.
was on a phone, like, so
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be talking on the phone to another person. And you know how like you have to, and you know, we've all done that before. We picked up a phone and pretend to talk to somebody, but I mean, to
Yeah.
actually try to pretend to like pause and have the conversation, pretend like they're talking, it's really hard.
Yeah. 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 Very cool. Um, so uh, very soon, in fact, tomorrow, I believe you're launching the Chronicles of a Guinea Pig.
I am.
And where is that going to be?
That is at Winthrop, the Art
Okay.
Walk shop and studio. Yes, it's amazing. This cute little local artist shop that they have there. It's a little tucked away. It's a hidden gem. It's adorable. I absolutely loved it. I went in for the art festival over the summer and I approached them and I had said, "Hey, my book's going to be coming out soon. I don't know when, but hey, I'd love to do something." And they're like, "Yeah, that'd be great." And so then I was talking to my editor and I was like, "Where do I go to launch?" I'm like, this is so important. It's so exciting. And so they were like, "Why don't you just put some feelers out?" And I'm like, "Wait, I remember I went to Winthrop and I love this little place." And so
Yeah.
I did, yeah, I did. And they were so gracious and so excited. And we are thrilled. We've been emailing for the last like 10 days,
Yeah.
trying to get this all coordinated. And like, we can't wait for it to happen.
Yeah.
So I have probably over like 100 people coming and I was not expecting that. So I am
Yeah.
like, I had to call my editors and I said, "Can you send me more books?" I'm like, "I think I'm gonna need more books."
Yeah. And I should mention, I said tomorrow, although when this episode comes out, it will already have been yesterday. So,
Uh-huh.
but
Yeah.
but tell us about the book.
Yeah. So my husband had guinea pigs when he was younger, and he's telling me a story about his guinea pigs one day. And this is during the pandemic. So I have always wanted to write a book, but I didn't know what I wanted to write. And so I actually have written 3 books right now.
Okay.
But I only had published one so far. So, because, it's expensive to publish
Yeah.
books, apparently, so, I
Yeah.
would start with the one. Um, and he told me a story about this cute little character, Riff Raft. And I just kind of like laughed about, the joke about like them having, his brother and him having these guinea pigs, and then they had the cat that taunted it. And I'm like, okay, I'm like, this has to be a book, right? Like, I'm like, this is just like, too cute to not be a book. And so I developed it. And then, like I said, pandemic was going on. And I started working on it, getting editing, doing little pieces. And then, life happens sometimes. I had to put it on pause for a little bit. And then I started back up again. And
Yeah.
then I was like, I got to take this leap. I'm like, I'm almost done. I've got to publish this. I got to go. And so this past year, I planned my wedding. I was planning the book, and I was doing theater and I was in a show, so it was just, there was so much I was doing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to see this through. And yeah, and then, it was great. And I was so thrilled when I first got the call and they're like, "Your books are coming." I'm like, "What?"
Nice.
So I was so thrilled, and then the books came, and I opened it, and the picture I do have of the 2 pictures I have up on the that Facebook was right after I was like bawling my eyes out because I was just so overwhelmed and overjoyed with the opening that book the first time and seeing it in my hands. And
Yeah.
I can't I can't say enough what it feels like to do that. But
Yeah.
here it is. Like, here is my I know.
Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah, it's great. I just, like I said, I can't wait to have the world see it. It's gonna be
Yeah.
great.
Very cool. Do you know where it will be available for people to
Yes.
purchase?
Yeah, so I've been trying to get that word out too. Yeah, so definitely, of course, if people instant message me, we can always do orders and I can do it that way. But I do have a website. It's
Okay.
kaylajames.com. And you can find that on my Facebook, you can find that on my Instagram. That's Kayla James author. And then I have the Kayla James Maine author children's book that is for Facebook. So I've got 3 places that people can order the book if they want, or come to the book visits or come to the book launch, right? Those are the places
Yeah.
if you want that personal experience of me handing it to them,
Yeah.
that I can mail it. I was just mentioning to a friend that's in the UK, and I said, I can ship it to you.
Yeah. What's the audience age range that you feel it's appropriate for?
Yeah, so definitely elementary and middle age, so it does go with up to middle school. So I would say K through middle school. I mean, I have high schoolers that are asking me for the book. So I mean, it's pretty much for anybody, but those are really around the age.
Yeah. And do you feel like writing after this experience? Do you feel like that's something you'd like to pursue, or was this just an idea you wanted to get out and?
Oh, no, it's definitely going to be part of my career too. Like I said,
Yeah.
I am not one person to have just one job. I have many jobs. I love keeping busy. I'm already starting my second book
Okay.
to this, so it's a sequel to it. So
Okay.
I'm already in the works of that.
Nice. Um, well, I guess, is there anything besides the new book that you're either involved in that you can talk about, or anything that you're excited, or anything that's coming out that you can talk about?
That's pretty much it. The book is pretty much my focus right now.
Yeah.
Definitely, film stuff that I'm talking about that's been going on. Some of the places, they haven't advertised yet, so I'm waiting for
Yeah.
them to be able to. But the 11 Skulls is one that has been out, so I'm able to talk about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those are the couple of things that I'm waiting for.
Nice. Nice. And so, my last question is always, do you have a favorite movie?
Yes. That's a hard one too. But if I have to stick with the Halloween theme, it would have to be Hocus Pocus.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yes.
Yeah, Hocus Pocus. That's a good one. And as folks who listen to the main podcast, the CineMAINEia podcast, know, it features Charles Rocket from the
Yep.
Bangor area. So
Yep.
always a good pick. Very nice. What's the best way for people to get in contact with you, or look you up, or find information about you?
Yep, definitely. Like I said, on Facebook, I have my Instagrams. I have it for my book author, and I also have it for my film account. So those would be the best way.
Okay, perfect. Anything we forgot, or anything else you want to plug?
I don't think so, unless you have any other questions.
No, that was it for me.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
CineMAINEia is hosted and produced by Derek Brown, Mike Pritchard, and Nick Costigan. Editing and sound design by Bud and Bird Media. Email us at mainfilmpod@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at CineMAINEia.
All right. Well, see you later.